Hey everyone, Zach here, and welcome to the 35th lesson of this RTS tutorial series. In this lesson, we'll be setting up our HUD. We will not be adding much functionality to it, but because this HUD has two parts, recording it was taking me well over an hour to do as one continuous piece. So I've split this into two separate lessons. That said, fire up your editor and let's get started. So here we are back inside the editor, and what we're going to do today is we are going to set up our HUD. But first I want to show you why we're going to add in some extra little features. I'm going to hit play. I'm going to show you a bug I found from the last section. So we have our vehicle, we have our unit, we have another unit. We were going to use the same concept of setting this unit into the car to send it into a vehicle in later videos. However, there is a bit of a problem if we do that. Let's send this unit in and highlight that unit instead. It's sending the selected unit. Now I've resolved this issue, so I will put the resolution for the vehicle in the next section. We do cleanup, but I'm going to do the correct version for what we should have done for buildings in this section. So if you want to use that to duplicate it over, you can do that. If you want to wait to the next section where I address this point directly, you can do that as well. But because of that issue, I've decided that I'm going to include some stuff in here that we will use in that later section. So you're going to see me make references to the vehicle. And in fact, actually one of the very first things we're going to do is we are going to go to our vehicle, and we are going to, our vehicle HUD at least, and we are going to add in a new custom button. Actually, I've already added that in. So what you do to do this is you do custom event, and you just name it close widget. The name actually doesn't matter. I just named it close widget so I knew what it was, and you're just going to hook it into the same thing that your close button is pressed into. Sorry, I've recorded this a couple of times because the first attempt at it was well over an hour, which is why I've decided we're going to split this HUD video into two parts. So let's take care of, oh yeah, also delete your resources HUD. I can't undo that, unfortunately. So we are going to create two new HUDs. So user interface 1, and we're going to use a little bit of a better naming convention because this isn't going to be a normal HUD. I'm going to use W underscore, so for widget, and this will be occupant text field. There we go. So this one is going to be very different than anything else we've done for our widgets before. This one isn't actually going to show up on its own. It isn't going to be on the screen by itself. It isn't going to be anchored to the screen size, so we don't need this canvas panel. This will be a part of another widget, and that widget will work as its canvas panel. And that widget's also going to determine the size this widget needs to occupy. So instead of the full screen like we've done before, it's going to be desired. So now we have this little dot, itty bitty living space. So we're going to put in there a size box, which will, size box, which will resize based on the content that it holds. Now, I kind of need to consider the fact that this desired is going to show up inside of something else, and if that isn't big enough, this can be as big as it wants to be. It's going to get cut off by whatever it's inside of. So this will be our size box. Inside our size box, we're going to have a border. This is just to make things a little bit easier to see. And we are going to go into our border. We're going to go to our just want to make sure I get the right thing because I got it wrong the first time through. This is brush and color, and we're going to change the alpha to 0. We could go down, open the brush and color, and do that in there. Next, we are going to grab a button and drag that into there. There we go. Here's our nice little button. You can see there's a border around it. That's what that clear space around the button is now. And we're going to grab, not a text box, sorry, a text field, and drop that into the button. Let's highlight this button for a second. We want to change the color and opacity. In fact, we're just going to not do it the same way. We're not going to open up the color and opacity. Here's our alpha. We go down to set that to 1 actually. I lied. It's actually in the style. So open this up. We are going to go into our tint. We are going to do it this way. We're going to set this to an alpha of 0. Boom. Now when it gets hovered, what I want it to do is I want it to go red. So again, tint. I'm going to remove the green. I'm going to remove the blue. I'm going to leave the red. And just to be really jarring when we've pressed it, I want it to go blue. So I'm going to remove the red. Going to remove the green. And there we go. We're all blue. So let's name these things. This button will be our unit name button. The text field will be our unit text field. Or sorry, I'm just gonna name it unit text. And let's not worry about the size box or the border. We don't really need to name those. So the first thing we're gonna do is in here, we are gonna set something up. Well, we'll set this up a little bit. What we will set up is we are just going to add in the variables we're gonna need. We won't need any of these, by the way. Actually, we will need the event tick. So we will leave the event tick for now. We will add in a few variables. We'll have our building HUD, which we actually haven't created. So let's just create that so we can fill that in. So user interface, blueprint widget, building info. Hang on. Building info HUD. I'm not sure what build info HUD would have been useful as a name, but there we go. And this will be our building, not HUD, but our building ref. This will be our building info HUD object reference. This will go into a category called references, like we usually do. So references. We will do one for the vehicle. So we will have our vehicle HUD. Actually, I'm just gonna name it HUD. It's not a reference to the building. It's a reference to the HUD. So this should be HUD actually, so I don't get confused with my other naming conventions. Sorry about that. And this will be a reference as well. We'll have one more reference, and this will be our unit. Hey, when does that? Unit ref. And this actually will be a unit ref. It's not to the HUD. So that'll be RTS unit master. And that will go into our references. And the next thing we're going to put in there is a new text field, which will be our unit name. And instead of doing this as a string and converting it, it'll be converted elsewhere. This is our unit name. And this will be a text field. There we go. We will also set up, the reason why we left the event click in here is we're going to have a right click feature, and because UMGs don't handle right clicks, the easiest way to do it is actually using an event tick. Normally I would not recommend including an event tick inside a HUD, but because this widget will destroy itself when it reaches the end of that tick. So there'll be an if statement. It won't go through there until something happens. When it reaches the end of that tick, it will delete itself, thus ending the tick. So the issue with UMGs and ticks doesn't really matter. And the issue is you can't turn off a tick in a UMG easily. So this actually kills it, so it does turn it off. Let's go back in here real quick, and let's set our text. We're not going to do a binding like we normally do. We're just going to get to this property. Whatever that variable is set as will display here. And we're going to set that in the building HUD. And in our unit, and in our building. It will take multiple blueprints to get that to set. It requires our building our building HUD and our building blueprint and our unit to work together, which is why this was a long video in the first couple of recordings and why I've decided to go back and do this in multiple parts. So we're just going to leave this as is for now. Now the next step is let's work on our building info HUD. There we go. And I'm going to drag in, like usual, something that we'll use as our background. I'm going to use an overlay this time though. So we're going to drag that in. Going to anchor that to the center of the screen, and I'm going to size it by, I think it's going to be 1000 by 500 is what I decided. No, 1000 by 800. Sorry, I had to look at my notes there real quick. So 1000. Oh, sorry, it still says 100. 1000 by 800. Now I'm going to position this so it's dead center. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take half of each of these. So half of 1000 is 500. Boom. Half of 800 is 400. So say half of 400 is 400. That is not correct. All right, this will be my background image box. And in here, we are going to drop in our image. And this will be filled horizontally and vertically. This will be our background. Ooh, sorry about the caps there. Background image. And just like I normally do when I do this, I'm going to cheat. Let's go to our main game UI. And I'm just going to highlight this background image. Wow. You would think I would have actually named these still as background image or something. And I'm going to copy the color and opacity information there. And I'm just going to paste that onto this color and opacity. There we go. Next, I am going to create my close button. I'm just going to work from the top down on this one. All right, so we're going to grab a button, grab that into there. I'm going to set it to 40 by 40. And I'm going to add in a text field. And this text will just be a simple X. There we go. This will be anchored to the center of the screen. This will be my close button. And this will be my close button text. I'm going to remove that extra R there. Sorry about that. All right, so this is centered to the screen. Let's just put it to the corner now. So it's actually, or anchored to the center of the screen. Now let's put it to the corner of the widget itself. All right, that takes care of the close button. Next, I am going to do a building label button. So we're going to do a horizontal, not button, field. We're going to do a horizontal box. Just drag that into here. I'm going to anchor it to the center of the screen. And I am going to set the size of it in, let's just do the Y first. Oh, not Y. That goes back to what we had before. I am going to set it to 500. And I'm going to put position as -250. And there we go. I'm just going to drag, oh, I'm going to fix that position in a second though. Don't worry. I'm going to drag that up there. And this is going to go back to -250. So it's centered on the screen like that. And this is going to be a little bit different than usual. We're going to put a spacer in there. We are going to then put a text box. This isn't different so far, I realize. We're going to put another spacer in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do this as fill. And this is going to be 0.25. This is going to be fill. This will be 0.5. And this will be fill at 0.25. However, something is, and the next thing is this needs to be aligned in the center there. There we go. And we're going to do, just let's make this a little bit bigger. Building name under construction. So that I know that this, hang on. Factory is going to be the longest name I have so far. Or no, training post is the longest. So training post. All right, so the size is a bit off on this box, but that's still centered fairly well. So it's fine that it goes over the side there a tiny bit. Not so worried about that. All right, so this will be our building name box. This will be our building name text. All right, so far this video is actually going faster than my earlier recordings. At this point, we were just opening up this blueprint to work on it. But also, we had set up all the features inside of this one, because this is going to have a lot of features. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a vertical box on this side. So just grab this vertical box. As usual, let's just make sure I did set the anchor. I did. We are going to anchor this to the center. I'm just going to name this box right away as my building details box. Right, so our size in the x-axis will be approximately, well, it's going to be approximately 300. Actually, no, it's going to be 275. 275. You might want to make this 300 actually. Actually, we will do 300 just because I know it's easier to work with it as 300. And this next one will be 550. There we go. So we have a nice, long, and tall box. Just drag that and set that about there. And we're going to have in here, well, we're going to have a lot of things in here. We're going to have 1, 2, 3 horizontal boxes technically, with spaces between them and a scroll box. So let's get a horizontal box and just drag it in here. Boom. So we have that horizontal box there. Let's get a spacer and just put it beneath there. Boom. And the spacer is going to be sized to 5.0, so 5. And let's just repeat this. So that'll be, there we go. There's a second horizontal box and spacer. And then we need our third one. There we go. There's our third. And then we're going to have another size box. So let's just find that size box there, which is under panels, by the way, and place it on the bottom. We'll worry about each of these in turn. So this first one will be our progress bar label box. Yes, I say that like so the way this is going to go, first one will be a label box. This will have a progress bar in it. This will be a label box, and this will be this. It will literally be this widget over and over and over again, as many times as there are units in this building. I say that I actually kind of wonder if this should be a scroll box itself as well. So what we're gonna do is actually we're gonna actually kind of undo something. We're gonna take this. We're gonna undo this horizontal box. We're gonna put a scroll box in instead. So take a scroll box and we are just going to drop it in here. We are going to duplicate the values of this box over onto this box. So this will be anchored in the center of the screen, and we're going to do 300 and 250, or sorry, 550. So 300, here we go, 550, there we go, and what were the other values? So we're just going to copy these. So copy, paste, copy, paste. And the reason why we're using a scroll box, and also Control X, paste those into there, delete that. This will be our building detail box. Building detail box. Hey, I'm glad I'm re-recording this. I didn't think about this earlier. If we have a lot of units in there, it's going to run down the off the widget. So we actually need this to be a scroll box. Otherwise, this size box is going to run into issues. So it'll be a label box for the progress bar. This will be the progress bar itself. This will be a label box for the type of occupants we have, and this will be the size box. Now, I say the type of occupants, and why do we have a label for our progress bar? Well, remember, we have this under construction up here. The building can either be constructed or not constructed. So we want this to be a progress bar for the health of the building or the construction. So we're going to need to label that. It's either going to be occupants of the building or it's going to be construction workers. So we want to label that. So this first box will be our progress bar. So progress bar label box. And inside of there, we are going to have a spacer, a text box, and another spacer using the same setup we did at the top there. This top, that is. So spacer, text box, and another spacer. We are going to use fill 25%, fill 50%, and fill, and let's use a proportion, so I should say, even though if you multiply by 100, it becomes a percentage. There we go. So I'm just going to name this one Building Health, so I know what it is. Ooh, that does not line up nicely. Horizontal alignment. horizontal alignment, and horizontal alignment. Now, if we leave it on auto, it actually isn't going to be too bad. Actually, we do fill and fill. So they each get 25% on the fills, which actually lines it up better. Let's actually see what happens when we do that with this. Oh, yeah, we'll actually do it that way. So remove the, I always have issues lining these things up. Remove the fill on the text labels and leave the fills on the spacers. The spacers know how much to take based on the size of this box. There we go. And this will be our progress bar label text. Awesome. All right, so let's go down to this next one. We need a progress bar, which I can never remember where those are. Progress bars in our common. So put a progress bar in there. This we do want to fill. There we go. Let's add a little bit of a percentage in just so I have something in there so I know it's working. Yay! We want a spacer right after that. And we want a text box. Or text field, sorry, not text box. This will be our progress bar box. So progress bar box. This will be our building progress bar. This will be sized 14 first off. There we go. And we're going to just put 99%. Actually, no, 100 is bigger than that. 100%. That takes up more space. This spacer, by the way, we're just going back to the spacer real quick. We'll have a spacing of 5. And this text will be our our progress bar text. There we go. We can close that one out. We have our next spacer, which has that value of 5 already. And now we are into the next label. And we're just going to repeat what we did up here. So in fact, I'm just going to copy or duplicate all of that in here. There we go. And I'm going to do this as construction workers. This will be our unit label text. And this will be our occupant, it should be occupant label. Occupant's label text. There we go. This will be our occupant's label box. All right. And how are we with the record time? We are just over 22 minutes. That's fine. Let's close that out. Close that. Ooh, close that out. Close that out. And let's go down to our size box. And this is where things get a bit interesting. So, inside our size box, we are going to, I don't like what I have in my test file. So I'm going to do it a little bit differently, and I hope this works. If this doesn't, then, it should work because we have this now as a scroll box. So yeah, if you've been following, oh yeah, by the way, I've been doing videos on the prep of this work on Twitch. So if you want to see what I've done there, go to my Twitch profile. There should be a link in either the description below or in my profile on YouTube, and you can see what I've done. So originally, this, as I mentioned, this box wasn't a scroll box; it's a size box. And is it a size box? No, it's a vertical box. That's what we did, a vertical box. And I put a scroll box in here, and I had the issue where the text is running off the screen. So I'm just seeing that I have a scroll box inside here, or inside this size box, but I don't think we need that anymore because we have the scroll box here. I might be wrong. We might need a second scroll box. I'm not sure, but we'll find out the fun way. We will add in another panel, and this will be a horizontal box. And this horizontal box actually, sorry, I said horizontal, I mean vertical. It's going to be a vertical box. Boom. We're just going to keep adding these vertical boxes over and over again, but we're not going to do it by hand. So this will be our units name box. And this will be a variable. So click this is variable. You'll notice it gets bolded here. If you go to your event graph, suddenly that's on our event graph there. All right, next, that takes care of this lovely box thingy here. All right, so we have our button, we have our title, we have our label box here. We need some more buttons, and we're going to do 3 buttons. One of which we'll add no functionality to for a while. The other ones of which we will start adding functionality in fairly quickly. And in fact, there are going to be some things I haven't included in the original write-up for this section that we are going to do based on some of this. So you're going to recognize one of the buttons really quickly. And that's just because we've done something similar to it before with the car. And I'm going to actually, what do we resize it in the car? Actually, no, we're not going to worry about that. I'm going to anchor this button to the center of the screen. And I'm just going to go to this text label real quick. And I'm going to resize this text label to 18. There we go. I'm just also going to duplicate this button. There we go as well. All right, so this first one, we'll say release. And in this, so I'll say release, and this will be release button. This is just like unload inside our vehicle, so I didn't go back to it. This will be our release text. So this will release, construction workers, release occupants, that sort of thing. We're just gonna put that button down there. And then we're gonna take this button, button 99, and do the same thing. Just drag it down here. We're gonna set the, did we set the font size before we did? Yes, we did. This will be delete. This will delete an unconstructed building. So this will be our delete button. If you've just done what I've done again, details. I can't remember if I did in this recording or another recording. Delete button. There we go. And we have one more we need to do. And I'm kind of actually thinking I don't want to do it right now. I want to do it later on, but yeah, no, we'll do that one but later on. That one doesn't actually fit here. All right, so let's see where we're at in our record time. So we're just about 30 minutes in. Let's do some other prep we're going to need to do to get all of this set up for the next video. So next thing we need to do is we need to create a new enum. So let's go into here. And let's go to blueprints, and we're going to do enumeration, and we are going to have building names enum. There we go. And we are going to have 5 total. Now, you don't actually need 5. You can have 4. I only included this blank because when enumerations first started, there were issues if you didn't have the blank. I also have a different reason for wanting this in here is I just like having on the unit master, or sorry, building master, it being blank and not having any value. But outside of that, you do not need it. It is not necessary. So I'm going to do factory, training post, barracks, and then silo. All right. We now have that added in. Next, I am going to add it to our construction structure. Let's close that up. And we'll do building name. This will be, of course, a building names enum down here. There we go. Save that out. Right. So let's add this to the actual building. So we're going to go to our building master. Building master. Hello. Add in our building name. And this will be of type building names enum. There we go. Compile, save. And next, well, let's go into our construction manager. Oh, sorry, we need to actually expose the building name inside of here first. I forgot to do that. So we need to expose the building name at spawn, and we need to make it, we've already made it so we can edit the building name. There we go. We're also going to need to probably move this reroute a bit further down. Now refresh. There we go. See, it's blinking there. That's lovely. Go back to the structure for a second. Boom. Save it. Go back to your not getting much in there. Go back to here. Hey, there we go. Things line up a little bit neater now. I like it being a little bit neater. Put a reroute in. There we go. Our building name goes in quite nicely there. Compile, save. So we need to actually set the building name. So let's just quickly go into our preview. And let's close this out. And here, we're going to take some of this detail and we're going to, collapse. We're going to make a function out of this actually, just to make life easier on all of us. We're going to take this, and this. We're going to have some other ones we're going to add into. We're going to collapse to function, and this will be set building details. I do not like the fact that this has reorganized the order in which these show up. There we go. And I probably should have taken the reroutes with it, but whatever. We're going to delete that real quick because we have the reroutes already on the outside. We're actually going to have one more thing in there, and that's going to be building name. But we'll worry about that in just a second because we need to get the building name from here. So, building name. Get building name. We are going to pass this straight on through to here. So we can't just plug it into there because it doesn't exist here. So we're going to add in building name to this file here. And this, of course, will be our building name enum. Lovely, right? Lovely, lovely, lovely. Drag off of this, plug it into there, and then finally drag off of here and add it. No, we can't just add it to this, can we? Let's just add it out here, and this will be building. Hey, it actually has the right type. Building name. Sorry, that 2 is just there because I was having a problem renaming it. And drag off of there, put your reroute in. Alright, let's go in here. And it's going to drag off of this, and we're going to promote to variable. And this will be our building name. And I'm not going to worry about the reroutes in here, honestly, because we know where it's going. It's literally this. I also like how it looks. I personally like how the bars or the lines cross under there. So meh. All right, so that takes care of what we need to do for this, really. No, it actually doesn't. I skipped one step. Let's go into our factory. Let's find our building name and set that to factory. Compile, save, and we're gonna just repeat this throughout all of these. So this actually now takes us through what we needed to do. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have anything you want to see, and if you have, hit that like button. If there's anything you want to see or anything you want to know about, go ahead and drop a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer as soon as possible. We are in the barracks. And as always, I hope to see you in the next tutorial in which we'll go over finishing out our building HUDs. And with all that said, and as I do this final blueprint, I hope that you have a wonderful day.